Hey yo, this is Bob from Bob's Tabletop Sports coming to you with part 2 of the card creation tutorial. We're going to go through today how to do our data merge, which means we're going to take this card that we have here, we're going to duplicate it with a bunch of players that we've already put into a spreadsheet. Alright, so this is the card that we created in the first part. I did add one thing to this card, however. One thing that probably was noted a lot in the comments in the first video, one thing that was missed, which was the usage star right here. This usage star, I just added this into the design off camera. Basically what this is we're using Zap Dingbats. I'm using the ITC Zap Dingbats. I believe Mac comes with Zap Dingbats, but I think the ITC is a little bit better. It's a little bit more complete and works better with Affinity Publisher. This is character capital H in the Zap Dingbats font, and it'll give you a star. If you do a capital I, it will be an empty star. So you can use that to automatically create those usage stars for yourself. So that was the one thing that got added in here. And again, as you can see here, it is part of this player card. We named it Player Star, and everything should be copacetic there. So I'm going to collapse this. Basically, now what we want to do is we want to look at our data source. Okay, so we're going to take this card, this card that we created, we're going to put it back in a data grid. So we're going to put the data grid that or the data merge grid, we're going to put that back out there with the 18 different spots in there, the 3 rows and 6 columns. We're going to put that card in there, and then we're going to apply the data source to it, and you'll see how that all works, that we automatically generate all of our cards. We only have to design this one card, and it's going to generate all the cards for us. So let's take a look at the data source. Using Microsoft Excel, I created a Microsoft Excel table. Now, this is a static table. There's no formulas in here or anything like that. This is just data that I entered. I copied it right off the cards. Now, that said, if you're like me, you probably have a spreadsheet somewhere where you took the how-to guide and you took all the formulas in the how-to guide and converted them into Excel and made a nice little spreadsheet that will automatically calculate a player's qualities based on their statistics, right? So you can pull data out of like Baseball Reference, copy and paste it, and get all of the attributes for a player for their card. Okay, and that's really good. So you can do that, but my suggestion then is to then break it down into a usable format that you can reuse into your cards as well, whatever card design you have. And as you can see here, I've done exactly that here. So this is the 1975 Boston Red Sox and 1975 Cincinnati Reds. These are the two teams that come with History Maker Baseball when you buy the game. I think originally this was the only two teams that came with the game, and now I think they're including the most recent World Series or something like that. I'm not sure about that. But bottom line, these two always come with the game, so this is not giving away anything because this is stuff that comes with the game anyways. Now, that said, what I did here is everything that's in here is how I want to go onto the cards, meaning that I put everything in here in the format that I want them to go into the cards. Okay? For example, if we remember, our position is in all lowercase characters. If we look back here, if you remember when we had that starting picture here, that's all lowercase characters. We used the small caps on that, if you remember, but that is all lowercase characters, right? Same thing with bats and throws, right? So left, those are all lowercase characters again, but we used the small caps. Okay, the other thing that we did here is throws. So we can use this card now for both pitchers and batters, because if it's a batter, throws is going to be empty, and so is throws label, which means that this will also be empty, right? So we have it set up so that we can do batter cards and pitcher cards at the same time, okay? We have our first name, last name. Again, remember, last name is going to be all uppercase characters. Oh, one change I want to make here real quick. We're going to change this to also be small caps as well. And I think it's already set. Okay, it is set there. That's good. I want this to match this format because there are a few names like with a Mick something in there. And usually I like to have that C as small and the rest of the characters uppercase still. But I want that C to be that upper or that small cap like the first name is, okay? So that they match, okay? So that's all I want to make sure on there. All right. That said, we have fielding. So that's our fielding experience and speed down here, right? So that's these values here. And you can notice here I did something very interesting. So I have in here the the semi qualities, right? I have them right in here. So like where you're like where do you get that bullet, right, for the semi qualities? Good question. I found a really good place to get that. If we go into Affinity Publisher, we hit text and we go to show Glyph Browser. Glyph Browser will allow us to do this. Okay, so we can change this font. I'm going to change it to Open Sans Condensed. Okay, and down here you can actually do searches. So I can do star. There's no star in there. We can do bullet. Oh, there's the bullet. So I can go in here and I can just bump this into something. And I actually did bump it into hero here. But all you have to do is double click on it. It'll paste it in there. And then you can copy this and go back into the spreadsheet. And you can paste it in here. Just like that. Bam. And now you have that in there. Once you have it in there the first time, you can copy and paste it and use it all over the document wherever you need to, right? That's fine. Okay. If you're doing this using formulas, you can do it that way too, where you can include it in the formulas. You can include those special characters in the formulas as well, so it's no big deal. You'll also notice I have deltas and sigma ratings in there. Those also we can find in here as well. So you can do sigma. As you can see, here's the sigma symbol here. This is the capital sigma. Delta. Again, this is a capital delta. This is a small delta, by the way. And you can see here that we have a little history, too, of all the characters selected. And then you just eventually copy and paste them all in here, and you're good to go. Okay? Yeah, so then we have fielding experience and running. Then I have batting 1, batting 2, batting 3, batting 4, batting 5, and batting 6. So basically, if I'm doing them in order. So if I have 2 qualities, batting 1 and batting 2 are always going to be populated. If I have 3 qualities, batting 1, batting 2, and batting 3 will always be populated, and so on and so forth, right? This allows us to have a nice looking card. And as you can see here, we're eventually going to map this to like batting 1, batting 2, batting 3, batting 4, batting 5, and batting 6. So if they're empty, they'll remain empty. If they're not, then they won't. And then the same thing will be on the other side. We have pitching 1, pitching 2, pitching 3, pitching 4, pitching 5, and pitching 6 as well. All right. So the other thing here to note is for the batters. As you can see here, pitching 1 has the sigma and delta ratings here. So we have delta double here. This will then populate as the first character, first one here in the pitching thing. We're not using that anyway, so that'll be fine. And then we have our usage stars. Usage stars again, so we're using that ITC Zap Dingbats here. And we're going to change that to either a capital H, capital I, and that allows us to get these stars. So you can see here how we have the different types of stars for different usages. Okay, so that's really it. That's pretty simple. Pretty easy to do, but get into a format like this and a format that's going to be easy to work with so that when we start assigning these fields to different parts of the card, it's going to be really easy to do. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create our data source. Okay. So we're going to go in here. We're going to do a couple things first. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put down one of these nice little data merge layout tools. So we're going to use this again. This is what we used, if you remember, back at the beginning, right? When we first created this, we just like, there we go. All right. When we first created this, we created this to get our card size, to figure out what card size we needed, right? Well, this all should match. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to set our rows again to 3 and our columns here to 6. You notice our card's just sitting there in space right now. What we can do, we can take our card, make sure we collapse it first. We're going to take our card, we're just going to tuck it underneath this. You'll notice here you'll get that blue line here. And you want it so that it's kind of like, looks like it's a subservient to the data merge layout. And as you can see now, it's actually a subset of the data merge layout. And then we're going to grab that card and we're just going to drag it up into position and we are set. Okay, now we have all of our cards in there. And we have one page of cards that's just repeating over and over again. And you can see here we got our city name, first name, last name, blah, blah, blah. All of our cards have repeated all the way across. Okay? All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually set our source for our data to go in here. So we're going to go into our document and we're going to go into Data Merge Manager. And it says add a data source with the add source button, then insert fields using the fields panel. So this is where this gets kind of interesting because the add data merge source is down here. It's not labeled. You have to kind of look for it. It looks like a new thing here. We just click that and that'll allow us to access our folder. I'll just move this around here because they don't do a very good job of ordering stuff here. We got modal dialogues in the way of other modal dialogues, and yeah. So here's our sample player, XLS. We're going to hit open, and now that's in there. You'll notice it hasn't made any changes because we haven't assigned any of our fields yet. I'm going to close this Glyph Browser because it's kind of in the way. And then what we're going to do, we're going to set a few things here. Sheet 1 is where all of our data is. That's fine. We don't care about that. It says 24 fields, 54 records loaded. We're going to use a range. And we'll go 1 to 55 now. We'll see what we get for data. If it's a problem, we'll go with 2 to 55, but I think that should be fine. We're not going to hit generate because generate will actually generate the cards and it's going to create a brand new document with the whole thing merged. We're not ready for that because we don't have any fields set. So we're just going to hit close for now. Okay. And then what we're going to do, and this one's hard to find. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is actually the second time I recorded this video because I couldn't find it the first time. I was looking all over for it. I'm like, where the heck is this? Because I never find this the second time. We go into Studio, and we're just going to put a check mark next to fields here. And this is going to give us all of our fields off of our data merge. You can see here now. Yeah, we do. Let's go back into our data merge here real quick. Our data merge manager. I'm just going to set that to 2. And we're going to preview. There we go. Actually, does that match? Hang on 1 second here. Nope. We should set the 1 to 55. We're getting this right. Little bit by little bits here. Here we go. All right. I never said this was easy to use. The reason we do this, by the way, for the range versus this is we want to make sure that this works. For some reason, The all records has never worked for me, but range always seems to work, so that's fine. Now you can see here in our data merge, you can see here Team City Boston, Team Red Sox, and I should have updated the data source. Hang on. Yes. Perfect. All right, so yeah, we got our shortstop, Rick Burleson. This is the first player in there. Okay. So the way we can do this is, let's go into this. We're going to do a little zoomage here. So I'm actually going to move this over here just a little bit. We're going to do some zoomage. We're going to go tight into one of these cards, and we're going to be able to click on things and get right into the nitty gritty here. So we're going to go into here first for city name. And we're having some problems here getting into this directly. Come on. Alright, well, we're going to have to do this the hard way. Oh, that's because I'm not on the right card. Duh. There we go. Here we go. Now we're on the right card. It should be you have to be on the first card in order to make any of these changes. So you're going to select the text. So like here we have city name. Okay. So we're going to change that. We're just going to click on Team City here where it says Boston. And now you can see all of them replaced with Boston because it's going to duplicate that first card. We aren't going to get that actual data merge until we actually run this data merge. When we do that generate button. So everything we're going to do here is going to get duplicated on every single card on this page. So we're going to have a whole full page of Rick Burleson essentially in here. Okay. We're going to go down to team nickname next. And we're going to click that. And we got the Red Sox there. Okay. Then we have position. So we're going to click and select that. We get our shortstop. There we go. Throws. We're going to do we'll do throws label first. As you can see, it empties out, which is kind of confusing. As long as you're clicking on the right thing, you should be good to go. And then bats right. There we go. Okay. And this is going to be the fun one. Our usage star. And that should be set correctly now, which is good. Okay. All right. And you notice it came through there as H. Remember, because I said A, capital H is the star in that Zap Dingbats font. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to have fielding, experience, and running. So we're going to go to fielding, experience, and running. So down here, fielding. Click on that. Experience. Click on that. Running. Or speed. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to set our batting fields. So we go batting 1. Batting 2. Batting 3, batting 4, batting 5, and batting 6. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for pitching. So pitching 1. Pitching 2, pitching 3, pitching 4, pitching 5, and pitching 6. So that should be it. That's our entire card. Okay. Oh, we didn't get the name. Duh. Rick Burleson. Okay, so that is a sample card. Rick Burleson sample card right there. All right, so we got all of our fields mapped. Okay, so we have this is what a Rick Burleson card would look like. We have it, as I said here, duplicated a lot of times here. Crazy looking, huh? Okay. So we have everything mapped. Now we want to make sure that we have everything mapped. So just kind of go, you want to go through there real quick. Make sure everything is mapped. Make sure you didn't miss anything. Because once we do this next step, this is going to be fairly, well, it's not permanent, but you can regenerate. You can regenerate this. But we're going to just do a quick save here real quick. This is our template. So as I said, or as I save this one, I save this one as template. We're going to get a brand new file with the cards in it when we do our data merge generate. Actually generates a brand new file with all of the cards in it. So you're going to see this happen very quickly now. All right, so we're going to go into document again. We're going to go back into our data merge manager. And all we're going to do here is we're going to hit generate. Would you like to update it? Yes, we'd like to update it real quick. And here it's going to run the data merge, and that is that. So now we have a new document, and you can see there's no data merge document in here. This is our document right now. I'm going to close this. And as you can see here, it generated all of our cards. So we have cards for every player on Boston here. We have more for Boston here, and oh, there's our Cincinnati cards there. And you can see it copied over all of our fields. We have our pitchers, we have our usage stars came over just fine, and everything looks great. Okay, now a couple things I might change on this, and these are things that you may have to do on your own. Okay, so the first thing I may want to do is anytime we have one of these here, we may want to just drop that font down a couple. Maybe 9 or 8 or something like that, to de-emphasize it a little bit, because these usually get de-emphasized on the cards a little bit, so we could actually drop those down to 8. So these are steps that you would go through for each card to make a few changes to each individual card. This would be what we call the post-processing. There are certain things that this data merge tool will not do for you. And there's certain things that you need to get around, things like up until recently, I was actually doing a separate file for pitchers and batters, because I actually include some different graphics in there for pitchers and batters and what have you. So that is a different, a different way of doing things. So I had to do some different post-processing for that. Also colors. So these cards are black and white. We could actually add some color to them, but this would be a post-processing step. I would need to go through all 3 pages of these cards and go individually for each card and color them. That's not something that the data merge tool can do. That's one of its deficiencies. Now, the way we set these cards up, by the way, as you can see here, like Pete Rose here, you can see we have him selected here, right? The one nice thing about Pete Rose, we have his player card here. Remember how I grouped things in here and I set things up? I basically set everything up to make it very easy to select stuff. So you can go in here and very easily change all of those lines to red. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to change these to red. Let's go into, we'll go into crayons, I think. No, we don't want crayons. Let's see here. We'll go to web save colors. This looks like a good red. So as you can see now, just by selecting those 2 things in that player card, I was able to do all of the lines, right? If I do position, name, last name, I could do lefty righty. Well, no, I don't want to do lefty righty. Let's see here. Main abilities. Yeah. Actually, we'll just do these. So if we do those, we could, change those to red really easily. Actually, you know what? Sometimes it's better to leave the position as black. Leave those. And so you can just kind of do what you want to do. You can also just select them. So like on here, maybe you go with this and you say, okay, well, these are all going to be font red. Actually, this does the exact opposite. I keep forgetting that does that. We have to actually, this is the one pain in this one is if you wanted to color these, you'd have to actually go in and color these individually, which is a pain. But yeah, this is kind of where a lot of your work's going to end up happening. Is you have to go in and do some of this kind of stuff, which is a pain. But if you want good looking cards, I mean, that's kind of the stuff you got to do, right? And yeah, I just realized that this team names, we did that. We should be doing this instead. There we go. And we'll do the usage star too. There we go. So then we could do something like that for each card. And that took a while to figure that one out, but then once you get that first one, then the rest of them kind of just fly really fast. And you can see here, I just did a little bit of coloring, and all of a sudden that card looks better, right? It stands out, it pops. You can see the gray, how we use that gray for that de-emphasizing really pops now. It really works well with that. So that's kind of how I do the post-processing, and I usually do that for all the cards. That part there probably takes me a few hours to go through a set of about 12 teams, essentially. So going through and coloring all of them, it's a pain, but it's not that hard, especially since I usually set everything up on the card to make it a lot easier to color. This actually would be a little bit more difficult because of the way I did the grids and stuff in this. I could have made this a little bit friendlier for actual coloring, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview of how this process works, and this is the easiest way to do it. So that is it. We're probably going to do one more video at a later date. That video is going to contain information about how to take cards like this and go to the next level with them. And I'll talk about some of the things that I've done in the past, things that I've been working on lately to kind of change things up with cards. I've been working a lot with, some of you have heard Keith refer to the Saturday morning Zoom crew. Some friends from the Play.com that we've gotten together offline and kind of talked about things, and we kind of share ideas, and some of them happen to be with card creation. So some of the things that they've come up with have been phenomenal, and I've been including in some of my own designs as well. So they should be getting a lot of credit as well for some of the stuff that I've been doing lately as well. Plus, we've all been working with Affinity together and kind of figuring it out together as well. Mad props to a few of them, Al Wilson, Travis, Jansen. They've helped me get up to speed on some things. I've helped them get up to speed on some things, and we've kind of all worked together, and this has been a collaborative process to get to this point. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, I'm going to do a part 3 probably maybe in a month or so, to give you a little bit more insight. But these 2 videos I think will give you enough information to at least get started, play around with things. Like I said, learn this tool first, get the tool, learn it, and then go back through these videos again, and then you'll understand a lot more what's going on. And then with all that knowledge that you have, once you've learned this tool, once you've learned this process, you can make your own cards, do your own changes to them, make them your own, and do some really cool things. I've seen some really cool cards coming out lately from a lot of people in the community. So it's very possible with this process that everybody can have some really cool looking cards. and it won't just be a few people anymore. It will just be anybody that wants to do this, they can do this, and it's not that hard. All right, so I want to thank all of you for watching this. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.